Good day, Deep and Word family. Welcome to day 146 of our Bible study review. Today we're going through chapters 31 and 32 of the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 31 is one of my favorite chapters within the entire Bible. So let's get into this reading and see how he promises to do a mighty work. I'm going to read verses 1 through 10 and then stop and talk about a few things. All right, so let's start at verse 1. It says, "At that time, says Yahuwah, I will be the Elohim of the families of Israel," right? And we know the 10 northern tribes have been scattered and assimilated into the nations, right? No one really knows for sure who all of them are, all right? And it says, "And they shall be my people. Thus says Yahuwah, the people who survived the sword found grace in the wilderness when I went to give Israel rest." Now notice that it says grace or favor. It does not say mercy. It says grace. And a connector for you in the back of the book is Romans 1:5. That is the revelation you need to have about what he's saying right here. All right. So let's keep reading in verse 3. It says, "Yahuwah has appeared to him from afar. Indeed, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness, I have drawn you. And again, I will build you, and you will be built, O Virgin of Israel. You will again be adorned with your tambourines, and shall go forth in the dances of those who make you merry. You will yet plant vines on the mountains of Samaria. The planters will plant them and will enjoy them. For there will be a day when the watchmen on the hills of Ephraim will proclaim, 'Arise and let us go up to Zion, to Yahuwah our Elohim.'" Remember, at the beginning of the chapter, it says, "at that time." This has not happened yet, okay? So right here, verse 7, "For thus says Yahuwah, sing with gladness for Jacob and shout among the chief of nations. Publish, praise, and say, O Yahuwah, save your people, the remnant of Israel. See, I will bring them forth from the north country and gather them from the remote parts of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with her child who is in labor with child together. A great company will return here." Verse 9, "They will come weeping and with supplications I will lead them." Supplications, meaning you will not come empty-handed before him, okay? "I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in a straight way in which they shall not stumble. For I am the father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn." Stop. We got to go back to Genesis chapter 48, verses 17 through 19, because we need to have a revelation about what he's saying about who Ephraim is. So yes, let's backtrack so you know what he's talking about, who he's talking about. All right. So here we are in Genesis chapter 48, starting at verse 17. "When Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand on the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he took hold of his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head, because Manasseh was the firstborn of Joseph." All right. And so Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." His father refused and said, "I know it, my son, I know it." His father is Jacob. His father is Israel. All right. And it says right here, "He will also become a people. He will also be great, but truly his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will become a multitude of nations." Okay. So Ephraim, right, his descendants would be dispersed among the nations. And who is going to gather those who are dispersed among the nations? Our Messiah is going to do it. Now, just to give you further revelation about what this is saying, let's go back to Genesis to when Abram was named Abraham, right? Or Avraham. So let's go right here. Chapter 17 of Genesis, right? Verse 5, it says, "No longer will your name be called Abram, but your name will be called Abraham, for I have made you the father of a multitude of nations." Meaning Abraham is the father of the multitude of nations from the promised seed, the capital S seed. We are grafted into this family by way of the promised seed of Abraham. He is the father of the multitude of nations who come into this family by way of Messiah. Now we can go back to Jeremiah 31 and let's go back to verse 10. So now if you are picking up what the scriptures are putting down, then you understand clearly what it is saying about who you are. All right. So it says, hear the word of Yahweh, O nations, and declare it in the coastlands far off, and say, he who scattered Israel will gather him and keep him as a shepherd does his flock. Come on, y'all. Verse 18, I have surely heard Ephraim pleading. You have chastened me, and I was chastened as an untrained calf. Turn me back, and I will be turned. For you are Yahuwah, my Elohim. Surely after I turned back, I repented. And after I was instructed, I struck myself on the thigh. I was ashamed and even humiliated, because I bore the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For since I spoke against him, I surely do remember him still. Therefore my heart longs for him. I will surely have mercy on him, says Yahuwah. And now to Jeremiah 31:31. So it says, surely the days are coming, says Yahuwah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah. Now he is not making a covenant with anyone else. He's making a covenant with the kingdom people, Israel and Judah. All right. It will not be according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand, right, to bring them out of the land of Egypt, because they broke my covenant, although I was a husband to them. So the husband is saying that the wife, right, has broken her wedding vows. Verse 33, but this shall be the covenant that I make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahuwah. I will put my Torah within them and write it in their hearts, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. They shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahuwah, for they will know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, says Yahuwah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. So yes, this covenant is likened unto a marriage, because he himself said he was a husband to all of Israel, and all of Israel did not keep her side of the covenant. So he is going to do something miraculous, all right, because she failed. So he's going to do something to make sure that this covenant does not fail again. I want to share a wonderful video from Triumph and Truth Ministries, Gary Simons. He breaks this down so beautifully about what is new of the new covenant, y'all. What we read in the back of this Bible is based off of this promise right here, okay? So the deposit of the Spirit has been made for those who trust in his salvation, who is Messiah. Messiah is the Word who put on flesh, and he has deposited his Spirit, right? He's made a down payment on this promise, all right? But this promise of the law, right? The Torah being written upon the tablet of our hearts, right? And we wouldn't have to teach it to the next man, has not been complete yet. If it was, then we wouldn't have to tell our other brothers and sisters in Messiah that his Torah has not been done away with. Please check out this video if you are confused about Jeremiah 31. I was confused about Jeremiah 31 as well, all right? So I thought I knew back and forth that this had already taken place, but nonetheless, a spirit, a deposit, right? A down payment on the house has been made for sure. The blood of our Messiah seals us for these promises. I truly believe that this will happen during the time of the millennial reign, or at the very end of the millennial reign, because our Messiah says there will be some who are greater and some who are least. And this is based off of Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, all the way reading through 19, y'all. Those who teach against the Torah, and Messiah is the Torah. He is the Word who put on flesh, right? Those who teach against the righteous Torah, they would be called least in the kingdom, all right? And so I do believe that this will take place during that time, because Messiah is going to be teaching the Torah, right? He is going to be teaching. All nations will have to come up and hear the Torah. And those of us who are his priesthood, we will have renewed bodies, right, who don't have an inclination of sin. And just like he was teaching the disciples, correcting their false interpretations or their understanding of what the scriptures said, he is going to do the same for us y'all. None of us are 100%, right, in agreement on everything within the Bible. The body is split on so many topics. And do you know who is going to get all of us together, get us all right and tight? It is Messiah. All right, back to Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 35. It says, "Thus says Yahuwah, who gives the sun for light by day, and the laws of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the seas so that the waves roar. Yahuwah Sabaoth is his name. If those laws depart from before me, says Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel also will cease from being a nation before me forever." So he's making it very clear that his Torah, his laws, right, concerning the sun and the moon and the days, right, the days of creation, 1 through 6, and then the seventh day of rest, he says, if the laws cease, right, that I have made for time, he says, if they cease, then my people will stop being a people. Our Messiah echoed these words in Matthew chapter 5. "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law nor the prophets. Not one jot or one tittle will pass away from his Torah until heaven and earth pass away. And heaven and earth do not pass away until the 1,000-year millennial reign is up. Then we walk into eternity after that." So the laws concerning the sun and the moon won't matter anymore because the Father and the Son will be the light. They will be the light. All right. So he's saying not until then will any of this pass away. All right. We need to know that. We need to know that because churchianity has been teaching lies against this truth right here. And then the very end of the chapter gives this promise that the city of Yahuwah will be built unto this glory, and it gives measurements. And it says it will not be plucked up nor thrown down anymore forever. And that is the whole, ministry of Jeremiah, is to pluck up, tear down, but to build up, right? He's plucking out what is not useful for the kingdom, but he's building up what is. And he's saying at the very end, this will not happen anymore. No one else is going to be plucked up. This will not be thrown down. This will be a city forever before my eyes because it will be built the right way. And it's based off of his promises of what he is going to do through us for his great name's sake. Now we walk into chapter 32, and let's start reading from verse 1. It says, "The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah in the 10th year of Zedekiah, king of Judah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. For then the king of Babylon's army besieged Jerusalem, and Jeremiah the prophet was shut up in the court of the prison, which was in the house of the king of Judah." Now, if you go back to chapter 28, when there was a false prophet, right? And he had a yoke on Jeremiah's neck, and they were making light of Jeremiah and the fact that he was speaking these words of judgment against the king, against the prophets, against everybody, because they were still doing unrighteousness and believing, right, that Nebuchadnezzar was just going to go away. Verse 3, "For Zedekiah, king of Judah, had shut him up, saying, 'Why do you prophesy? You say, thus says Yahuwah, I am about to give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall take it. And Zedekiah, king of Judah, will not escape out of the hand of the Chaldeans, but will surely be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon, and will speak with him face to face and see him eye to eye. And he will lead Zedekiah to Babylon, and there he will be until I visit him, says Yahuwah. Though you fight against the Chaldeans, you will not succeed." So Zedekiah is in his 10th year of being on the throne of David, right, in Judah. And back in chapter 28 of Jeremiah, we see that all of the officials and the king came towards him, right? And that was Zedekiah's first year of reigning, all right? And Zedekiah didn't like what Jeremiah was saying then, and he still doesn't like what he's saying now, and he is imprisoned now. Because Zedekiah is king and he's exercising his kingly rights, right, to imprison a man who is speaking against him, right? But it's really Yahuwah who is speaking against the king on the throne, all right? So it says right here in verse 6, during that time when Jeremiah is shut up in his prison court, it says that the word of Yahuwah came to me, right? So this is Jeremiah, and he says, Hanamel, the son of Shulam, your uncle, will come to you saying, buy the field that is in Ananoth, for the right of redemption is yours to buy it. All right, so the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah telling him this. And then it says right here in verse 8, so Hanamel, my uncle's son, came to me in the court of the prison according to the word of Yahweh and said to me, please buy my field that is in Anathoth, which is in the country of Benjamin, for the right of inheritance, and the redemption is yours. Buy it for yourself. So Yahweh is confirming that the word that he gave to Jeremiah is actually going to happen. And then it did. His uncle's son came to him telling him to buy this plot of land. All right. And so this is giving Jeremiah some hope while he's locked up in the king's prison court. And then right here in verse 12, it says, and I gave the deed of purchase to Baruch, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, in the sight of Hanamel, my uncle's son, and in the presence of the witnesses who signed the deed of purchase before all of the Jews who sat in the court of the prison. Jeremiah is imprisoned right now, and they're watching him purchase a land deed while the rest of them, right, this word is going out that they're going to be exiled to Babylon. They see that Jeremiah is purchasing land in Jerusalem, right? This is like a slap to their face. And it says right here in verse 13, I charged Baruch in their presence, saying, thus says Yahweh of Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, take these deeds, this sealed deed of purchase and this deed which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, that they may last many days. For thus says Yahweh of Sabaoth, the God of Israel, houses and fields and vineyards shall be possessed again in this land. And so Baruch becomes this friend and this scribe of Jeremiah. And now there are books on Baruch, 1st and 2nd Baruch, which were part of the Bible originally, and they were removed. So I want to encourage you to check these out, all right? And so Parable of the Vineyard has wonderful studies on 1st and 2nd Baruch, and I think you should check them out. I will link some of the videos below in the description. Now back to chapter 32 of Jeremiah. Now Jeremiah is in this place where he is just grateful that this thing has taken place in front of other people. They see that he is favored amongst all of them while judgment is being pronounced. So he has this beautiful prayer that he sends up to the Heavenly Father, right? To Yahuwah. And he says, oh, Yahuwah, my Elohim, you have said to me, buy the field for money and call in witnesses, although the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans, right? So now we move into verse 26, and it says, then the word of Yahuwah came to Jeremiah saying, behold, I am Yahuwah, the Elohim of all flesh. Is anything too hard for me? Therefore, thus says Yahweh, I will give this city into the hand of the Chaldeans and into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall take it. Verse 29, and the Chaldeans who fought against this city will come and set this city on fire and burn it with the houses, upon those whose roofs have offered incense to Baal and poured out drink offerings to other gods to provoke me to anger. Remember, we talked about this in a few chapters back, that he is going to cleanse the land because they have defiled his house, right? They have offered up offerings to other gods, which we know are demons, right? So they have defiled the house, the land of Yahweh, who is the husband. And so he is going to kick the wife out of the land, and he's going to cleanse the land of all of the desolations, right? All of the abominations that have been done in her. He's cleansing the land, right? He's going to let the land rest. His promise is to the people and in the land because his name is there, right? He says, my eyes are constantly on this place because his name is there. It's his house. He's the husband. His name must be regarded. He is the head. And so he's saying, I am going to send them away. I'm going to cleanse the land, and I'm going to use Nebuchadnezzar to set it on fire and cleanse it. Verse 36. Now therefore, thus says Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel, concerning this city of which you say, it shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon by sword and by famine and by pestilence. See, I will gather them out of the countries wherever I have driven them in my anger and in my fury and in my great wrath, and I will bring them again into this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. No one is dwelling safely in the land as of yet. This is not prophesying about what's happening right now. This is prophesying about a future time. Verse 38, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God, and I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for their good and for their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good. But I will put fear in their hearts, so that they shall not depart from me. Indeed, I will rejoice over them to do them good. And I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. And if you watch the video of Triumph and Truth Ministries, then all of this is going to start to make sense, right? Because the covenant is based off of better promises, the promises that he will do a great work. It's no longer going to be based off of what we do, but what he does in us. All right. So let's keep reading in verse 42. For thus says Yahweh, just as I have brought all this great calamity upon this people, so I will bring upon them all the good that I have promised them. Fields will be bought in this land, of which you say it is desolate without man or beast. It was given into the hand of the Chaldeans. Men will buy fields for money, sign and seal deeds, and call in witnesses in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, and in the cities in the mountains, and in the cities in the valleys, and the cities in the Negev, for I will restore their fortune, says Yahweh. Jeremiah 31:31 is my heart. I absolutely love this promise of the new covenant, of what he says he is going to do, because we have failed. Mankind has failed. Israel has failed. And so he's going to do something so that Israel never fails again. That hasn't happened yet, because everyone is still failing left and right. All right. But there's going to be a time where that doesn't happen anymore. So if all of this is clicking and making sense, and hopefully you have watched the recommended video, please write something in the chat. Deep in Word family, that's all that I have for you today. Until tomorrow, Yah bless.